Derek Carr is staying in New Orleans. Have you heard the news, ladies and gentlemen? 2025, as of right now, seems like it will be Derek Carr as the starting quarterback of the New Orleans Saints, and people are not happy at all. Today, the backdrop. Trizzy Trace, the Trizzler, as some would say. If no one's calling Trace the Trizzler, somebody needs to start that. That's trademark. That's for me, the face of the franchise, just improv. It's just nothing really for me to kind of come up with that kind of stuff. So go over to Trace's video, comment on there, the Trizzler. Okay, so let's go ahead and listen to and react to what Trace has to say about this, huh?
You're not dreaming. You didn't die and wake up in hell. This is reality. Derek Carr will likely be the Saints quarterback in 2025. Welcome to Saints Now by Chat Sports. My name is Trizzy Trace Gerard. Thank you so much for tuning in. Before we dive into all of the updates and all of the information and how this impacts the team, I got to ask you, what is your one-word reaction to the Derek Carr news? You saw Nick Underhill report it. He will likely return to New Orleans. I got to say, I'm not stoked about it. I think I get it. That being said, it's not the most exciting news in the whole wide world.
True. Very true. So, it's not the most exciting news in the whole wide world. And that, Trizzy Trace, what he just said, is a perfect encapsulation of the situation. That was a crazy sentence right there. I sounded a lot more smarter than I am. Huh? All right. Here's the deal. And if you didn't get the more smarter joke in there, then I can't help you. Okay. I would say it is not exciting. It does suck. Like, it is not awesome. It is not cool. Nobody wants Derek Carr to be back. Derek Carr doesn't even want to be back. He was buying houses in Fresno, okay? He doesn't want to be back. The players don't, or his teammates, who the hell knows, but the fans certainly don't want him back. This is a cap situation. This is a financial decision. This is a very similar to what Sean Payton and Denver had to go through with Russell Wilson, where it's like, look, these two parties are just kind of stuck for a year. They got to figure out the cap thing. They got to restructure some stuff. They got to move some stuff around. Where the wool is not pulled over anybody's eyes that Derek Carr is the franchise quarterback, or Derek Carr is all of a sudden the answer, or Derek Carr is all of a sudden going to win us games, or win us the division, or win us the conference, or this is just a bridge stopgap situation. That sucks. That's not exciting. That's not fun. But unfortunately, that's just kind of what it is.
So let's take a look at Derek Carr and, what could be the future here. And, why would we even do this? Like, there has been a lot of chatter around the Saints potentially cutting Carr.
Okay, so I hate to get bogged down in the contract thing because that's even more non-exciting, on a non-exciting story already. But here's the deal. The Saints have to get cap compliant this year. Okay, so if you cut Carr, and I'm doing all this back and napkin math, so somebody in the comment, check me on the dates and all that stuff here. But if you release Carr post June 1, you don't realize the savings early enough to be cap compliant by the date that you have to be. So you do save the $30 million, but you might not save the $30 million to do what you need it to do, if that makes sense. So what they could do instead is restructure Carr, save the same $30 million, or pretty close, but save it quicker so that it can actually help them be cap compliant this year. All right? If I had to guess, that's probably how it worked out. If I had to guess, the options were cut him, keep him, trade him. Trade wasn't an option. So then it came down to, do we keep him and restructure, or do we cut him? And just like I said, they probably looked at what happens if you cut him, what happens if you restructure. There was more benefit financially to keeping him and restructuring him. And that's how we end up where we are now. That is, I always talk about how you kind of have to look at things through a different lens to see the reasoning behind it. And this is a good example. As a Saints fan, sucks. As a guy who is excited for the team and excited for the whatever, and who just might not like Derek Carr, yeah, it sucks, for sure. But if you take a couple steps back and you look at the situation financially and from a business side of things or a front office side of things, it's pretty easy to see how you could arrive at the decision to keep Carr.
The idea is you actually save $30 million if you make Derek Carr a post-June 1st designation. And, Sure, there's all that dead money that you would have and all that kind of stuff, but let's just call a spade here. This is a very uninspiring decision. This is one that isn't going to put butts in seats in terms of getting the fan base to buy back in. And to be totally honest, I just think it's a bad idea. I think
That's kind of a misnomer too. So the idea that I can go ahead and tell you this. I'll be at every Saints home game next year, and I can go ahead and tell you this. Every single game will be sold out. So it's though that is never impacting the decision. It's if we keep Carr, people might not go to the games. No, they will. They absolutely will. Do the Saints expect Derek Carr to be a fan favorite? No. Again, this is not, none of that has to do with this. This is all strictly, how do we want to save the money? Situation 1, situation 2. And looks like situation 2 made the most sense. And so it's going to be ugly. It's going to be very much a Derek Carr's last year in Las Vegas type situation where, the fan base will be relatively, not even relatively split. The fan base will be on him if he does not perform. Now, winning solves everything. If Derek Carr comes out there and the Saints look sweet and Derek Carr is playing at a super high level and the Saints are winning, nobody will care about this. And Derek Carr will be a fan favorite. But if the Saints are mediocre or if the Saints are bad, I think it'll play out very similarly to Denver's last year with Russell Wilson and the Raiders last year with Derek Carr. I would assume it's going to be very similar to that trajectory.
Dumb, stupid decision. Why not? Why would you not just cut him? I get it. You can restructure him and save $30 million, but, even if you do that, then you're just pushing money further down the road, and then we're going to keep continuing to kick the can down the road, and it just sucks, man.
I explained
I
that,
like
Trace.
the idea of potentially rolling with the Spencer Rattler. I like the idea of potentially signing a Justin Fields.
Trace, I just explained all this. If you sign Justin Fields, then you're just signing another contract. Then you're handcuffing yourself to a quarterback for another couple of years. Then you got to kick that money down the road. That doesn't really solve anything. All that solves is the excitement. All that solves is somebody new, something new. But that doesn't solve what we're talking about here. So, and he said, it's a dumb idea. Why wouldn't you just cut him? Why would you do it this way? Just explain that. All right. And I know he's not watching this video in reverseception, but it's really that simple. All of the questions that I'm sure are filling up the comment section right now can kind of just go back to that. Just go back to, you either cut him and you still don't necessarily do what you want to do as far as saving the money in a certain time for the league calendar, all that stuff, or you keep him and you do get the money to do what you want. It's strictly that. It's strictly a financial vehicle. And this is the ugly side of the NFL, is when decisions are based in finances and based in cap and compliance and this and that. Now, you could argue, and I'll give you this. And can we get some T's and P's, thoughts and prayers from my guy Kermit in the comments? I can't imagine how upset my guy is with the Derek Carr news. Good Lord, have mercy. But also, a couple commenters were thrown in YouTube comment jail. Pammy Whammy just got released. She's back in the comment section. # free Pam. Glad to see her back and out of the YouTube comment jail. But, it's one of those things where you absolutely could argue that this is all Mickey Loomis's fault for giving Derek Carr the contract in the first place. You could absolutely argue that why would you even go sign Derek Carr in 2 years ago? He sucks. Okay? That absolutely has credence. Okay? And that absolutely has Clearwater. All right? Reading Clearwater Revival. Anybody? CCR? Anybody? Ladies and gentlemen? That part, can't argue with that. Okay? I understand it going back where it's you got to get a quarterback. Jesus, we're in Trevor Siemian, Andy Dalton, Jameis Winston world. This is getting kind of brutal here. We got to get somebody. You can get Derek Carr at the time. Not super expensive. You front load the contract. And it all just didn't work out. No doubt about it. You took a huge risk, you took a huge gamble. You had a financially fragile system anyways, and you brought someone on that made it even more financially fragile. So looking back, yes, you absolutely, barring Derek Carr playing out of his mind this year, barring that, you absolutely can point the finger at the front office and say, what were y'all thinking? What were y'all thinking? And the answer to that is Dennis Allen. Like, the answer to that is obvious. Why do you think the Saints went and got Derek Carr? Do you think it's the guy that drafted him? Do you think it's Dennis Allen? Do you think I would say he certainly had a lot to do with this.
Or drafting a Jackson Dart or going and getting whoever. I don't love the idea of running it back with Carr. We did know this was a realistic possibility. We did know that no matter what, this was likely going to be the outcome. And, I've been trying to tell you all this the entire time. Just because we want Carr to get cut doesn't mean that's what's going to happen. And obviously, it isn't official. They haven't put out no matter what.
Yeah, they still have to, theoretically, they still have to restructure. Like, if they can't come to an agreement on restructuring, then this could certainly change. But it sounds like that's not the case. So, and Trace is right. Like, there is a huge difference in what a fan wants, what a watcher of the game wants, and then what actually can happen. Sometimes, you are just up against what you can actually do within the constraints of your salary cap and the finances and the league calendar and the league year and all of that. So,
no questions asked. Derek Carr's the quarterback, but this is about the 95% version of that. It's
like, for example, I'm pretty sure you can only have 2 June 1st cuts, right? And I've seen people say, make Cam Jordan, Taysom Hill, Derek Carr, blah, 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 June 1st cut. There's all those little wrinkles in the system where you got to make sure it all adds up and it's all right.
He's likely going to be the quarterback. I'm
pretty sure you can only restructure a certain amount of contracts, too.
Be back. I mean, Mike Triplett adding context here. Mickey Loomis and Kellen Moore, then Jeff Ireland. They all met with they've all met with Derek Carr, especially Mickey Loomis and Kellen Moore. Things have gone well. Conversations have went well. Mickey Loomis even saying that they have a lot of faith in Derek Carr. They're excited to continue to work with Derek Carr. They have a lot of faith in him. And he's actually even said that they're going to be a little bit more active in free agency and expect them to be making a lot of additions. But, again, this is a player who just is uninspiring. Even when he's healthy, sure, he's not going to be the reason you lose games, but he's certainly not going to be the reason he wins you games. And, I can tell you right now, after last season when the Saints didn't win a game without Derek Carr, my take still stands. On the current roster, Carr's the best quarterback. Right now in this exact moment, February 26th, Wednesday at 1:40 p.m. Central Time.
Brother, you could put Derek Carr 1 here, Spencer Rattler 2 here, then put Kellen Moore 3 here, then put me at 4, then you could put Jake Haener at 5. All right.
Derek Carr is the best quarterback on the Saints roster. Does that mean moving forward he was the best option? I don't know.
Doesn't that show you how much things have soured between Carr and the fan base? And I am absolutely part of this as well. I will sit here and tell you Derek Carr is the best quarterback on this roster. I will sit here and tell you Derek Carr is a starting quarterback in the NFL. I will sit here and tell you Spencer Rattler went winless in his games last year. All right? And I will still sit here and say I would prefer if Derek Carr is not the starting quarterback. Because he's just not our guy. He's just not the guy. He does not fit. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I'm just telling you, as someone who lives and breathes this, someone who, y'all can hear the parades rolling down the street, okay? Someone who's in this city every single day, talking about the Saints every single day, around Saints fans every day. He ain't it. He does not gel with this team. He does not gel with this city. Winning fixes everything. That could absolutely change if we have a great year next year, but that's how much people want something new, is that they are willing to say, best quarterback on the team, best quarterback on the roster, starting quarterback in the NFL. We would rather just say, whatever, give us Spencer Rattler for a year. He hasn't won a game in the NFL, and I'm willing to start him if it means not having to deal with Derek Carr.
But that's not up for me to decide. That's just up for me to talk about on my YouTube channel. Kellen Moore, even going back to his introductory press conference, had some really nice things to say about Carr, saying he's a tremendous starter.
All this stuff, too, these quotes, I put zero stock into these quotes. What else is he going to say? What else is Loomis going to say? Mickey Loomis is not going to come out there at the press conference and say, well, guys, we understand Derek Carr sucks, and we understand that everyone hates him, and we understand the locker room hates him. We understand that, this has been a complete failure, but we're financially obligated and we're completely constricted by the salary cap. So he's going to be the starting quarterback for next year. Who dat? Like, he's never going to say that. He's just going to say, Derek Carr is a good player. We're happy to have Derek Carr. See you later.
Starting quarterback in this league, and he has a lot of respect for him. He's really excited to team up with Carr and really go through the process, and he's excited to go through this journey. Like, again, this is a move that I'm not going to say is shocking. Is it polarizing? Absolutely. Is it shocking, or is it really that surprising? No. I'm just not too stoked about it. But I will tell you right now, Kellen Moore, Derek Carr, Mickey Loomis, and let me rephrase. Derek Carr, this is a message to you. You better stay healthy. You better figure out a way to win games. You better find a way to get the fan base to buy back into you. To Kellen Moore and Mickey Loomis, you better be willing to die on this hill.
I don't think this has anything to do with Kellen Moore. Like, I've seen a lot of people say, like, Kellen Moore this, how could Kellen do this, fire Kellen Moore, whatever. But, like, I don't think Kellen really had much say in this. I mean, like I said, it's more of a cap thing. It's more of a contract thing. Like, I'm sure Kellen's fine with having a veteran quarterback who is a starter in the league. And I'm sure if it was up to Kellen, I'm sure he would rather do that than say, hey, man, how about we start the season with Jackson Dart or Kyle McCord or Spencer Rattler or whatever. Like, yeah, Kellen's probably like, sure, I'll take the veteran. Like, yeah, all right, whatever. That's probably easier. It's probably more likely to win with. I mean, again, like, that shows you how uninspiring this really is, that Derek Carr gives the team a better chance to win. Think about that. With Derek Carr, the ceiling all of a sudden goes to, like, the ceiling, all right? I'm not saying we're going to win 9-10 games, but the ceiling goes to 9-10 wins, division, all that stuff. Without Derek Carr, it doesn't. Like, without Derek Carr, you're praying to win 6-7 games with Spencer Rattler or Jackson Dart or Kyle McCord or whoever you end up with, right? But fans, even with that information, fans are like, screw that. Like, I don't want it. I don't want to win 9 games that way. I don't want to win 10 games that way. And I totally understand that. I hear you.
You hitched your wagon here. You better be willing to go down with the ship if things blow up in your face. But we're going to go live here in just a couple of hours. We're shooting for 4 p.m. Central Time.
All right. Enjoy. Go take a look. Go take a look at Trizzy Trace's live stream. They're on the march to 42,000 subscribers. So go support the boy. Tell him the face of the franchise sent you. But this is one of those moves where it's optics. Optics are the main thing. Optics really are the main thing here, where it just looks bad, it feels bad, it sounds bad, it smells bad, it tastes bad, and we're just gonna have to sit there and deal with it, And a lot of people said, I've heard a lot of people already saying, like, I was so excited, and now I'm not excited anymore. And I think that's the main thing, is that it's just not an exciting thing to hear. I would, if it was me, if I was the Saints front office, I would have released this information on Mardi Gras morning when everyone's busy, when no one's watching Twitter or whatever, and just pray that it got lost, and then show up week 1 and, Derek Carr is starting quarterback. Like, just do it that way. But, I mean, it definitely sucks the wind out of a lot of people's sails, which, again, I don't blame anyone for not being excited about this news. But like I said, I think it's just one of those things where now, and this is completely normal. In a situation like this, people are going to want to quickly point the finger and be like, Kellen Moore, Mickey Loomis, Saints kicking the can. They're trying to find the buzzword to attach this to. This is simply just a byproduct of math. This is simply a byproduct of economics and finances. Now, you can argue bad financial decisions or whatever got us to this point. I'm sure the front office would agree. There's not a doubt in my mind, if you could roll this thing back a couple of years, they would not sign Derek Carr. Just like they wouldn't have made Dennis Allen the head coach. But they did make Dennis Allen the head coach. They did give Pete Carmichael the offensive coordinator job. They did sign Derek Carr, and now we're kind of in the windfall of it. Some people have asked me what this does to change our future outlook. I'll reiterate, I don't think it does much. I think it doesn't change our draft prospects at all. If we wanted to draft Kyle McCord in the 5th, if we wanted to draft whoever, Jalen Milroe, Will Howard, Riley Leonard, Jackson, if we wanted to drafting those guys, we could still do that. All it means is you have a year for them to develop. Now, it does alter Spencer Rattler a little bit, but, if you were going to draft a quarterback, you probably weren't too worried about Spencer Rattler anyway. So you can kind of do whatever you want in that sense. The draft doesn't change at all. There's a lot. The Saints need a lot in a lot of different positions, and now quarterback just isn't one of them. Now you have Derek Carr for a season, so you can focus on defensive line, offensive line, tight end, wide receiver, just filling out positions. So that's a positive. And then we'll see how Carr plays. Maybe Rattler develops throughout the year. Maybe he's ready to roll going into next season. Or do they draft somebody, or do they draft someone in the following season? So, I mean, that's all still kind of the timeline, right? That timeline really doesn't change too much. The only way it really changes the timeline is if you do go get Justin Fields before Derek Carr. If you go get Justin Fields instead of signing Derek Carr or keeping Derek Carr, then all of a sudden it's like, well, you're definitely not drafting a quarterback, right? You're definitely not doing that. You're trying to develop. You're all in on Justin Fields. So let me know in the comments below what you think. I don't blame you for being upset. But like I said, I think this is more of an optic situation, more of a feeling type situation, more of like an intangible type disappointment versus like an actual bad decision or an actual decision that's reflective of the front office or Kellen Moore or anything like that. I don't think it really, grand scheme of things, I don't think it changes much at all, if anything. It just kind of sucks, right? Like, it's just kind of boring. It's just kind of boring. I think everyone was ready for something new. We kind of got like all this good news at once with Kellen Moore, Brandon Staley, like we're doing all this stuff. It's like, man, this is crazy. Like, we're popping off. Saints are all of a sudden the youngest coaching staff in the NFL. Like, we're moving and shaking. We got some opportunities here. And then you get Derek Carr, kind of the speed bump. But we're going into the draft. Ashton Genty, Tyler Warren, like there's some big time players that if we come out of that draft with, get excited again. So there you go. Let me know in the comments what you think. Thank you for watching. And I will see you in the next video.